at the end of this coming month in July, we're going to be doing a huge, I can't say enough, huge free real estate investor meetup live in person, downtown LA. Wah, wah, wah. Come on, Willie. Let's get it. You got a plane to catch, buddy. Viva Las Vegas, Will's favorite location. Viva Las Vegas. El pinche güero.
Pinche güero, güey.
Pinche gringo güero.
I got my modelo, güey. I got these two pinche vatos over here, güey. También.
Pinche vatos, hold on, let's get these guys.
Este vatos, güey. He said, get in the picture.
Those guys out there. Come on, let me see. Let's go. Let's get it.
What's up, you guys? This was Ask Alex. This was our 82nd week, man, and always one of my favorite when we get to do a deep dive and break down some deals. What were your biggest takeaways today, man?
Huge takeaways. I love these deal reviews, especially because we go in detail of how we decide on a deal. What we talked about today was lessons learned. We talked about the market. We talked about some of the deals we missed and why we feel that was best we passed on that deal. So check it out. You're going to learn how to buy more deals. Let's go. Aloha. What's up, everybody? We're doing our monthly deal review. We're going to be looking at a couple deals, one that we closed on, one that we passed on, and a bunch of the stuff that we've been looking at now, especially with seeing some changes in the market. I want to kind of keep you guys updated on the way we're looking at deals. So we do this every single month. I'm going to get my man Will Wall in the building now. As you know, my co-host. He's en route to Las Vegas, Nevada. He's going to be going to the Ryan Pineda Future Flipper Mastermind to all 3 days. I'll be flying in tomorrow from Mexico. I don't want to go to the first day because I've already been to Ryan's office, and so I don't need to go and do all that song and dance. But got my man Will in the building. Like I mentioned before, it's our monthly deal review. We're going to jump into the nitty gritty. We're going to review a couple of deals. One of them in Hawaii, one of them here in Southern California, and then we're going to cover some ground. Really, the reason we do these is because we want to just try to share the lessons that we learned. We also want to kind of highlight the most important decision-making factors per deal because they can vary, right? And then just kind of sharing how we kind of closed on it, how we financed it, how we funded it, because that's always something that's of interest, right? How did you actually take the deal down? We'll be going deep into that. What's up, Will? How you doing, brother?
Doing well, man. I love these deal review weeks. Like you said, just kind of getting into the nitty gritty, kind of taking a look at the leads and the deals that we're taking down. And this is one of my favorite webinars, actually.
Yeah, for sure, man. So you're going to be leaving Las Vegas pretty soon, right? Getting out there to getting on the airplane, the lovely LAX airport.
LAX, baby, LAX to LAS. That's what we're doing. So it should be a fun trip. We're excited for it.
Yeah, definitely. So. All right, man. Well, let's jump right in. I know we're gonna usually have an update and kind of let everybody know where we're tuning in, what we're doing, what we're up to. But also, I think is that one of our virtual team members.
I'm not entirely sure. It might be, but we'll go ahead and get rocking with your update.
All right, cool. I guess the main thing is like where am I currently right now? I'm in Monterrey, Mexico. So cool thing about this city is that it's pretty close to the United States. It's one of the wealthiest cities in Mexico. I heard from a couple people that was just a mountain town, really modern, a lot of cool things to do. So I checked that out at the beginning of the year, and I liked it so much I returned for my birthday. So I've been spending pretty much my birthday weekend. Went out to the mountains, man. It's pretty special. And what's interesting is a lot of people said that there's no rain because they're experiencing a pretty significant water shortage. And we get here, and then my assistant was like, "Hey, man, looks like it's cloudy. Is it gonna rain?" He asked the Uber driver, and Uber driver was like, "Man, you're crazy, bro. It don't rain here." And my assistant was like, "Okay, sure." And sure enough, dude, the next morning, it was it was raining. And then the next afternoon, we went up to the mountains, and it rained a lot when we were up there. And then yesterday we went golfing, Top Golf, and then there was raining. So it was just like, okay, we almost didn't come here because of the water shortage, and then it's been raining like every day. So I know you joke around with me. I bring the rain wherever I go. I brought it to Maui. I brought it to LA. Looks like I brought it to Monterrey, Mexico too. So
just don't bring it to Vegas this weekend, man. It's already going to be 100 degrees out there. We don't need that too.
Yeah, man. So we got that going on, and then I got a lot of birthday, birthday messages and stuff like that on Sunday. That was cool. Although I like to say that I design a life that's cool enough where I can, I celebrate life a lot more than just once a year. But nonetheless, it was special to get a lot of messages. We also made a big decision of selling the Hawaii house, the main one, right, the one in Maui, and so that was an easy decision. And we've now picked the agent, and it went live today, you guys. So wah, wah, wah. So we're gonna be taking some chips off the table, some winnings off the table, and we'll let you guys. We'll keep you posted on that. But hit the market today. If anybody wants a Maui estate, hit us up. We got a beautiful one for sale now. And then I've been working out a lot. Just kind of swimming here. Pretty much every single day, and hitting the gym. So feel good. Kind of got a good rhythm going there. Been seeing some of the like places here, like the old historic town. We also went to this festival over the weekend. That was this huge like Central Park area over here in Monterey, and we had some very famous musicians and bands that were here. So that was pretty cool. And then we've also kind of just been really productive regarding the 18 unit, because that project has been moving along really fast. And I think we're going to be, doing, a lot more of the design part of it. I think today we talked about maybe even installing a pool. Wasn't something originally discussed, but when you start to remodel apartment buildings, then amenities and things like that are considered. And in the past, like I would probably say, there's no way I'm going to install a pool, but we all know that Phoenix can get a little toasty. And if we're going to collect more rent because we install a pool, well, we might just have to do that. So
I know our asset management team, Mikey, Lily, and Carlos came at us today with like, hey, we might be adding a pool out there. And I was like, whoa, really? And then it was like, tell me more. I was like, that might not be off the table at the end of the day. If logistically you can argue, we call it fight with facts, right? And I was like, man, if you can fight with facts and prove me otherwise, like I could be interested in a pool out there. Like,
I said immediately, no, absolutely not. And then the minute I got new information, like what, $50 to $75 more rent every unit, property. Okay, it's not that. It's common. It's not. In California, that is not common, at all, right? I've never heard of an apartment building a swimming pool, even though it gets hot in Southern California. I've never heard of it, and so we're in Arizona, and they're like, no, it's actually kind of common. On value add plays like what you guys are doing. I'm like,
and every time we've been out there, we've hit the pool. So it's like, okay, this does make sense. Like I could see, I could see that working out. So it's awesome. And especially when like the team's coming up with those kind of ideas and, floating those things, it's always cool, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the one last big thing is that, or last couple of big things is I'll be in Vegas tomorrow, God willing. And with you, we're going to go to the Future Flipper Mastermind. That'll be fun. And then, but at the end of this coming month in July, we're going to be doing a huge, I can't say enough, huge free real estate investor meetup live in person, downtown LA. Wah, wah, wah. So anybody that watches this, if you on the recording, you got to check out the meetup because it's going to be huge. I think we're expecting somewhere close to 250, 300 people. So that'll be cool. So
that should be big. I just posted the link in there. If you guys want to go ahead and sign up and come out for that, feel free to as well.
So that's it, dude. It's time to review some deals.
Let's do it. I know we've got one of our team members, Manu, in the audience. So let's go ahead and bring Manu in for this first deal. I know he's got a little bit of time here with us to share, but he was the acquisitions kind of manager on this first deal that Alex and I are going to share with you guys. And so we just, again, we want to share both the good and the bad. And, this deal in particular, it didn't end good. I'll let you guys know that, right? We did not end up buying the property, unfortunately. So we did end up, having to pass, but nonetheless, that doesn't mean that we didn't learn, plenty of lessons from the project. I learned different terms, different terminology, different routes. There were multiple times when we thought this deal was dead and off the table, and, we were still able to rally and make that happen. So, I think that's always pretty cool when you can, see something like that kind of happen on a deal, right? So, Manu, we're going to go ahead and, talk about this deal that you had locked up in Pacoima, and kind of go over a little bit about, the project, the deal, and what kind of went down with it. All right.
Absolutely.
What's up,
How's
Manu?
everybody?
How are you, buddy?
What's going on?
So guys, Manu's got his Mama Mia in town, and he's dropping her off at the airport. So Manu is going to be able to join us here for about 20 minutes and kind of dive in and tell us about this deal. So Alex, do you want to go ahead and share your screen?
Yeah, for sure. So first things first, we'll jump right into the deal itself. We can kind of look at the specs and also answer some, whether we're going to answer some questions or we'll kind of just dive into the details of what we learn and everything.
And if you guys do have questions, use that Q&A field. We're going to dive into this one. First, Alex, the first thing I want to kind of talk about with this deal is obviously, it's up in Pacoima, right? So you're very familiar with Pacoima, not just Pacoima, but really the entire Valley area, right?
Yes, exactly. So that's why it's so important that you get familiar with areas across whatever market that you're investing in, because it helps you spot things out faster. You have a lot more intimate knowledge. If it's close as far as the numbers, you're able to kind of identify that much faster. So right when somebody sent me this, I think I've done 6 deals in Pacoima. Pacoima, San Fernando, Fillmore are all kind of relatively the same as far as demographics, price points. Obviously, there's some nicer properties within all those pockets, but right away I knew like, okay, this is an 818 property. We like to say that because it's in the area code of 818. We jump right in. This is what you're looking at here is a new opportunity MLS email. This is what some of the team sends over to us when we want to review a deal. And I'm not going to just get an address from somebody and then do all the work myself. That's what acquisitions managers do. So is there anything specific you want to say about this, Manu? Because this is kind of what you sent out to us. And look at the date. It was on April 14th. And this deal just fell apart in the last 10 days or so. So we were negotiating this deal for almost 60 days.
Yeah, I was just, scouting the MLS and just came across this property, and right off the bat, it looked like a deal. I was like, oh my God, yeah. And I called you, Alex, and I was like, hey, I have this property over here. It's in Pacoima. This is the price. Here's some pictures. And I remember you saying, oh, I don't want to know anything else. Let's buy it.
Dude, it was sight unseen, right? Like Manu pitched it to Alex and he was like, wait, Pacoima with the pool, with an ADU in the files? He was like, he was like, no, I'm good. Just buy it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's pretty advanced. That's after looking at hundreds of, thousands of deals, helping in hundreds of transactions and investing. But very quickly within a couple of dozen deals, you can get like that yourself, and you'll be able to identify hey, let's just lock it up. Let's not waste time, because speed wins deals. I can't repeat that enough, especially in a competitive market. Right now, obviously, we're switching a little bit more to a buyer's market, which actually is in our favor as investors, as flippers, if we play our cards right. So when he called me and he told me the square footage, and I know this sounds a little bit advanced, but you can get there, trust me on this, is I have a lot of zip codes memorized in Southern California. I would say probably about 100, and I have a lot of the values memorized, give or take. So if someone calls me, I'm like, oh, okay, well, what zip code is it in, or what general area? And then they'll tell me, and then they'll say, oh, well, the asking price is this, and then I'll ask the conditions. So I can almost quickly underwrite, analyze the deal within seconds right there, to see if we're even within ballpark. Because if you would have told me, hey, this property they want for 700 or 675, I wouldn't have been as excited. But because he told me how big it was, where it was, the condition, and then where the source of the opportunity, I was able to quickly identify and say, hey, lock up the deal. This has got to be something, because I know that the ARV was probably going to be around 8, and he was telling me 550. And I doubt that we're going to have to spend more than 100 or so on the rehab. So those quick numbers just told me that, hey, this is something we need to jump right on and lock up.
So again, I know you said it once, twice, and the third time, and said you can't beat a dead horse enough. But guys, I think that knowing your market and having that local expertise goes a long way. So Manu, let's talk this deal a little bit, right? First things first. Deals advertised as to be delivered vacant. Was that really the case?
No, really. This deal, I don't know if you said that already. We called it the cat with 9 lives. Is that right?
Yeah. Because the deal kept coming back. So here's the email, you guys. So as you see, this is the asking price. This is the address. It's sent out to the team and myself. This is the ARV that the acquisitions manager, the rehab, is estimating the pictures and such. So sometimes this is the link to listing. If it's like an active listing at the time, right now it's not, but it would have had some additional pictures here that I could kind of look at and quickly analyze. Also the comps are here, so that way I could also see any more recent comps, even though I know the general value is nothing like looking at a recent comp that has already sold that's relevant to our property. So you see there's 8s over here, 8. I already knew it was in the 8s, but like this is confirmed. There's some stuff in the 7s, but it looks like it's smaller or doesn't have a pool. So
Yeah, I was gonna say some of these lower price ones did not have the pool. So I think ours was like clear above and beyond gonna be in the mid 8s.
yeah, exactly. And we don't have, for the sake of time, we're not going to go into all the details of every single comp and whatnot, but because that can take up a lot of time. But you see the numbers were there, and you just don't want to overanalyze, especially if it's an opportunity that's maybe coming from the MLS that you really got to jump all over, and you can't just kind of take your sweet time. Now, if you're negotiating directly with the seller, then perhaps you have a little bit more latitude there, but not when it's an active MLS listing. Okay, cool. And so the comps are there, and then possible exit comps. So you might have heard this before. What we're looking is for the most like-for-like property possible, and that means that like this property is like almost like a twin, right? It's similar, same pocket, similar structure, size, similar year built, similar design, all that good stuff. But yet these are the ones that are completely remodeled and would be very pretty much similar to what we're going to be putting in the market. But so that's why you don't want to over rehab or under rehab. You want to see what's being done in the area and what's being successful, and just somehow kind of mimic that, or put your own spin on it, but not reinvent the wheel. Like, hey, look, this is a very clean and nice property. Nothing too crazy fancy. As you know, most of the neutral colors, the whites, the grays, that palette is still kind of going strong right now. So the reason it says exit comps is because this is what we want to look like. What is it going to cost for us to rehab the property we're going to buy to get to this? And then that way we can figure out how much we could possibly offer, because now we know how much we'll possibly spend for rehabbing it. And then now we have a pretty clear ARV. Now, I will say this regarding current ARVs. Say, for example, this was live deal right now. Instead of, if I thought this ARV was like somewhere between, once I reviewed it, I thought it was about 8.25. Right now, we probably would reduce that between 5 and 10% at least, because of current market conditions. So if I thought this thing was going to go for 8.25, then I would more than likely reduce that, I would say 10%. So then I would run my numbers on that instead of what the currently we would analyze things at, because the market has shifted more toward it is more of a buyer's market now. Any questions about that? And there's some other notes here too that you'll see. It's like the property's in distressed condition. In the picture, it seems like all cosmetic work, and owner is selling due to a separation from partner. So you just get to some additional context. There's a pool, a garage with some fire damage per agent, minor fire damage, and it was an unpermitted ADU. So there was additional structure on this property. Part of the reason we really liked it as well. Had a pool with a decent lot size, which a pool is very, it brings value at this particular part of Southern California. The valley gets very hot. So having a pool could be a big benefit and help on the ARV as well. And then these are just the numbers. So I'll bring them up with you guys here, but this was essentially the numbers that we make sure here. Okay, yeah. So these were the numbers that we essentially looked at. Let me know if you can see it, but our base case.
We're seeing your screen right now, man. So I mean, obviously, guys, this is our deal maker calculator, and I'm just going to post a link real quick before Alex goes into this, so that you guys can all get a copy of this. And then Alex, kind of break down like why this deal stood out to you.
Yeah, so right away when I was seeing it, I knew that there was going to be so there was a pretty huge margin right here. I think I didn't put the cash for keys in here yet though. Hold on. Because this is right from Manu's. So the base case that we had here was we were going to purchase it at $550,000. There was going to be an $800,000 ARV that we calculated, with about an $80,000 rehab, with a holding time of 130, should be a 135. And so these are numbers that we typically put in, and as you can see, it hits our numbers. We typically want to be at 30% profit on that, 30% or more. And at this purchase price, we would require at least a $60,000 to $80,000 profit margin. And so this one hit at 104. And so, it could be a 6-figure flip. we saw the exit comps. This is what we were gonna, this is what we locked it up at 550. But then what happened, Manu, once we kind of got our offer accepted, or we were gonna get an offer accepted? What ended up happening there?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, I also remember that we were like very confident that the ARV would be like even close to like to 850. So that's why we're all like so pumped about this. And nothing, basically, like the occupant of this property, basically bipolar. He was the one trashing the property. He was living there with like 2 kids, with the pool like in a like awful condition, and basically at first he didn't want to cooperate, and then he wanted to. Then we went there with agents, with appraiser, with police, just because he could have been like a little physical maybe, but then he didn't let us in. So we had also to like switch lender. We had to renegotiate because we thought, okay, we're gonna get this property to be delivered vacant, and that wasn't happening. So like every couple of days, there would be like something new that this guy would say, something new that this guy would do, and we would have to creatively basically renegotiate everything with the agent. And then in the end, he got a lawyer and filed basically a lis pendens attached to a lawsuit to stop the sale. Yeah.
So just a couple of things to highlight there is that, see, there's a lot of moving parts within negotiation, and so it's like this ebb and flow of back and forward, like kind of a tennis match, back and forward. And that's what I kept seeing with this particular deal, that we were, lock it up, buy it, and then the tenant doesn't want to cooperate or get out, because what happens often is that sellers, I think they underestimate the tenants, or they kind of are very confident they're going to be able to get these people out because they feel like they know them. But it's not, especially in California, where it's such a tenant friendly state, it's not that easy to relocate tenants. And so and especially one that's kind of related to the seller of the property, and then there's something going on there, and then so, but as you can see, it's kind of a meaty deal. So we're not going to just like let go of a meaty deal because of some issues, right? We're going to try to fight through it, compared to maybe if it was a skinny deal, it didn't have that much potential profit, then we might not have kind of continued the negotiations. We just went off to a better deal. But because it had such a great potential, we stuck in there. And I mean, it was kind of like that greedy investor syndrome, right? You're like, oh, man, you could see you getting paid a lot on deals. So you're like, hey, let's give it a valiant effort here. And that's what we kept doing as a team, where personally, I like properties in the San Fernando Valley because I grew up there and I know it very well. And I know the demand and the potential, long-term value on something like this, if we held it as an ADU play, or some type of investment play like that, or even as a rental, a regular long-term rental, or even as an Airbnb. And but it just kept on. That's what we said. It had 9 lives, and then it died. Oh, okay, no, this guy doesn't want to cooperate, and okay, we let it go. And then it came back. No, he doesn't want to cooperate. And then he's like, no, but going back, he filed like a lawsuit. And then we're like, okay, cool. Well, he doesn't have any rights. He's kind of like a squatter. So we have a lawyer, and we've had to relocate people before, and we just put into numbers. If you see here, all we did here was we just, at that moment, we just put in $30,000 here for cash for keys. And that's why his calculator is so valuable, because then you could just, put that in your cash for keys for the tenant. And now let's look back at the numbers here, and it barely still hits our numbers, right? And this is a kind of a conservative ARV. It could have been really 825, and so we're like, damn, like this still looks like a deal, even if we got to give this guy a huge amount of money, $30,000, which we felt we might be able to get him out with less than that. Or we could go to a lawyer, pay him $5,000-$10,000, and then he gets him out and makes him negotiate, and then maybe we only have to give him $10,000 because we went the legal route. It still ends up being around the same amount of money, $20,000-$30,000 to relocate somebody in California. Sometimes that can stretch a little bit more, but that's kind of the average that we are still seeing, that I've seen, kind of grow from 5, 10, 15, 20 to now where it's just like commonly between that 20 to like 25 to $30,000. I think is pretty accurate now in California, at least for the type of properties that we buy. So that was kind of one thing that kind of killed it. And then we decided to move forward. What happened then, Manu, or Will? Do you guys remember after that? Because I know it was a roller coaster back and forth, and then it died again, and then it got revived again because the lender and a title had some more to say about like the circumstances of the sale and us having, you know, kind of chances to buy the deal, but at the same time having some risks there with this guy suing the seller and putting a les pendants, which is kind of like a lien on the property.
Yeah, so basically we went like back and forth with title and lending for a few days because we needed to get to the bottom of this and understand like, okay, what is it that this guy can really do, and how, are we willing to take the risk and I don't know, like keep the property for a year even before like getting in and starting the rehab and everything. And basically title was comfortable with going forward with it, but putting like a new clause in the contract that would basically shield them from anything that had to do with the les pendants. But then after that and a few other like back and forth, the lender just pulled out saying that with the market shifting and everything, and with the les pendants filed, they weren't confident, and they didn't feel like they would land on this one, basically.
Yeah. And so what I want to say about that, you guys, is that so since the lender was on board and then the title company was on board, and then they both kind of changed their tune, they said the title was like, well, we can insure it, but if this guy's filed, and I know we're getting a little bit in the weeds here, but the reason we're explaining all this is because like this deal, like really we lost it by inches. Like it could have went either way, and it could have been a monster deal. So that's just how this thing works out. And then title, they were kind of like waffling, but then they said, you know what, we'll insure the transaction, but we just won't insure that part of the transaction. And you guys are gonna have to be responsible for that. And then we consulted with the lawyer, and based on what that lawyer told us, I was confident that that case or that, you know, whatever the guy filed was gonna get thrown out. And so we wouldn't have to pay them anything. And then it was just like kind of calling his bluff. And you know, if we would have bought the property, you know, with hard money loan and had proper title insurance and all that, and he was kind of just a squatter, then really like he didn't have the leverage that, you know, that he thought he did, based on all our investigations, because we would have been the rightful owners and we'd have been able to pursue the eviction with him. And that's why we would have had that $30,000 available to give to him once we closed, or we could have just used that for lawyers and to kind of, you know, just holding costs for making mortgage payments to the hard money lender. So again, it stayed alive on that. And then what really killed it at the operating room table was it just died, was that then the lender was like, hey, you know what, with this les pendants, we don't feel comfortable. And remember, keep in mind, this is happening April, May, you know, April, May, and then once it started getting to like, you know, June already, essentially the market had already started to shift with the rates going up, and then, you know, everything happening, where we were also like, well, we're not as confident on this deal because we might not be able to get inside for a year. This guy might battle us in court for a year. So what's going to happen in a year to this property, even if it's a monster deal, we're also maybe having a pretty high mortgage payment because we're buying this thing for like, you know, $500,000. That's not a cheap payment, $3,000 or something. And we're just paying that every month, not getting inside the property. So long story short, it really died, but it was back and forth for a long time. And if, you know, that lender would have lent on it a little bit early and kind of would have went full force and forward with it, I think we would have probably bought the property. Yeah, because it had that much margin. Any questions? Did we miss anything? Anything other thing you want to talk about on this particular deal? I know you got going in a little bit, right, Manu?
Yes, I got a couple of minutes.
And then what was your kind of view, or what lessons did you learn as an acquisitions manager for the deal? If you want to just maybe quick highlight on that.
Yeah, and I was going to say that as well. Like, I'd love to hear kind of your feedback, Manu. Like when you were looking at this deal, like what was going through your head, right?
I mean, definitely that until you close, you never know like what can happen. Like every time, like every day, it seemed like, oh, we're closing today, we're funding today, we're doing it, we're getting it, but something else would happen. You know, like so many things. There's so much that you can control. I mean, that was like a huge learning curve for me, also because it was like a very difficult and nuanced deal. there were like so many things in place. The occupant, there wasn't just an occupant, but was like related to the seller. There were kids involved. The house was distressed, and there was the pool, and then we had to figure out permits and stuff, and the less pendants. I didn't even know what that was before before this transaction. So definitely learned a lot as far as just real estate, and great experience. Even like dealing with two agents at the same time, and the negotiation was sometimes like excruciating, you know. And then also the agents like started fighting between them. So like, yeah, definitely like very interesting. Every little part of the deal.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, that, the negotiations, the agents, the back and forth, and sometimes these conversations with the agents, I remember Will got tired of talking to this agent because, like,
I like 5 different times I was like, is this agent really, like, the agent's calling me back? Like, I thought the deal was dead. At one point she was like, I don't want to talk to Will anymore, I'm only going to talk to Manu. And then like 10 minutes later she calls me back, and I was like, I thought we just discussed this, so it was like, it was crazy back and forth. There was just, it was wild, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And Manu the whole time is like, Will, are we still in this deal? And I was like, bro, I think it might be, like, Manu, I walked away and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, agent, we're gonna have to walk away from this deal. And Manu called me and was like, did we just walk away from the deal? And I was like, 10 minutes later she'll call back, watch. And it was like, she called back and she was like, okay, we're still going for it. And I was like, I told you, right?
Yeah, and it happened like 10 times. And she still wants to take me and Will on a nice dinner. So I don't know, Will, want to do that?
Hey, I'm going to take you guys out to dinner once we get this deal closed. I remember when she said that, and I was like, all right, I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, I mean,
exactly.
one lesson that Manu brought up is that you really never, ever want to celebrate a deal completely until, you record it and you close and you bought it, because it's okay to say, be happy and to kind of have a small win. Now, hey, we got this deal under contract, or looks like we're going to move forward on this, but you really never know. Things can fall apart on deals all the time. And then you're like, oh man, I celebrated too quickly. You don't want to be that guy. And on this deal, we kind of did that a little bit. I can't say a lot, but we kind of.
Oh yeah. We were already planning the next meetup.
I really knew it's too good to be true, because I'm like, oh, the price, we locked it up quickly. Like, it's right in our backyard. We know well. Sure enough, tenant doesn't want to cooperate. Oh, great. So anyway, all right. So let's anything else about that particular deal? I want to talk about this Hawaii deal that we're currently rehabbing, that we've learned a lot of lessons on. It's been another very creative deal that's looking to be a pretty sweet one.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for having me. And hopefully everybody learned something from this.
All right. Thank you, Manu. Hey, good. You're being a good son. Take your mom to the airport.
Thank you.
You'll be rewarded for that. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Will, let's jump right in. Any final thoughts on Wingo? I know it's
I know Wingo was the cat, right? The cat with 9 lives, and we appreciate Manu and Mama Mia allowing Manu to jump on and kind of dive into that deal. Again, guys, we just wanted to share this with you because it was a meaty deal, right? It had a lot of opportunity on it, and not all deals work out, right? And Alex, you've been a part of many deals that have lost money. You've talked about that before at our meetups. It happens. So we don't like to count our chips before we close them. But that was a fun deal nonetheless, because of how much we got to learn on it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think ultimately the experience is super valuable, even though we didn't buy it, because everybody got that experience. And now we're sharing with everybody here on the webinar, and that's going to watch the replay, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. That's just how it rolls, and you got to roll with the punches. Sometimes some you win, some you lose, but make sure you learn the lessons on the ones that you are kind of near misses, like this one was. So all right, let's talk about Moku Hau Road. So this property is on the island of Maui, where I currently live part of the time, part-time. And it happens to be it's in town, as it's called, which is kind of like Wailuku, Kahului. The airport's right over here, so this is a little bit more of the north side. A lot of surfing on this side of town. We got the big wave surfing called Jaws over here. So
But Alex, this is also near the airport, near, you know, a lot of jobs, right? So there's a lot of local, you know, people that live in this area as well, right?
Yeah, this is more of a local neighborhood, you know, often referred to as Happy Valley. As you can see, there is some ocean views there from the property. It's funny because we had made an offer on this property back in September at a little bit less than what we bought it at now, but so we already had familiarity with the deal itself when it was presented again. And the way it was presented again is we go to this future flipper Vegas quarterly mastermind, and we ended up going, and I ended up bumping into one of my followers. Apparently, you know, he had somebody he knew that was working on some Hawaii stuff. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I didn't think anything of it. We had a brief interaction and took a picture, and then he later on hits me up like, hey man, great you know, meeting you in person. By the way, I did follow my guy. It looks like he might be looking for a partner on this deal in Maui. I'm like, okay, sure. You know, give me his number or put us in touch. We did that. He brings this deal to my attention. He already has the deal locked up, right? He's done heavy lifting. He locked it up. He has a local agent that got him the deal, the offer accepted. It was, I think it was listed originally for around $650, but he had locked up at $500,000. And when he said $500,000, and then I looked at the property online, it was almost 1,900 square feet. It's the same thing as this Wingo
Didn't even need to go see it, right? You just automatically knew, like, big house, Maui, under 500K or in the fives, right? Like you just knew, like, hey, that's a zip code, that's a number, that's my local expertise. Like, and you've only been a local out on Maui for what, like a year and a half, right? But you still, you know, exactly, those zip codes, you know, those areas, and like those numbers just, you're like a dog, right? Your ears just kind of perked right up and you're like, whoa, do I smell a deal? I hear a deal. Like I hear a deal.
Yeah, exactly. I remember I was like, where I was in Vegas, I was in the casino and I was just telling them like, yeah, bro, like I'm interested. Like, let's, oh, no. I was already back in Mexico. I was talking to the guy in the casino originally, but then when I got the call, I was already back in Mexico. And I remember where I was at talking to the guy, like, because he was kind of an aggressive negotiator, and as you know, a lot of wholesalers are, and you know, I can be an aggressive negotiator too. So it was kind of like a real blunt interaction, and that's why I kind of remember it. And then because he was making it seem like he didn't really need me, and you know, he did have the deal, but he didn't have all the funding for it. So like it would have fell apart for him potentially anyway. So and I wasn't looking for another deal, and why? Because they're kind of hard to do because they're hard to rehab. And but we worked out a deal where basically he was gonna manage rehab, put in some money, and he got the deal, and I was gonna fund the rest and oversee the entire transaction and get the better funding than what he had lined up. And then we were going to partner up in JV 50-50 on the deal, right? So that's kind of like the way the conversation developed. And then I, you know, right away when I hung up with him, I called my local people, you know, people that I trust that are other investors on the island that know values probably better than I do. And so, you know, ended up just, you know, vetted the deal very quickly, because that's another thing that I want to highlight you guys in the lessons of these deals is that oftentimes you need help vetting these deals. And that's why it's so important that you network consistently, because you'll have those contacts to lean on when opportunities develop. And then you can just, boom, hit those people up like, hey man, I got this opportunity. And hopefully you provided value or been of some resource to these people, and then they could just jump on it. I called 2 investors. They both drove the property same day and gave me their feedback on it same day. And then I called another agent. And then so I had feedback from 3 highly vetted people within 24 hours on this deal that allowed me to say, yeah, dude, it's a deal. Let's move forward on getting this thing kind of, you know, kind of done. So it was definitely like, it was just quick, you know, it developed like literally within 24, 48 hours because of being able to vet everything, you know, from, you know, the people that I was able to lean on. Let's see here. Okay, so here's the numbers.
Power of the network, right, man? Like you know, your network is your net worth. So being able to lean on people like that, it definitely goes a long way.
Yeah. And so what we did was we got into the numbers, right? And so looking at the base case here, we thought, well, okay, 500,000. I ran the comps. Everybody was like, hey, you're safe at low 8s. I mean, this is almost a 2,000 square foot house in Maui. If you dial it in, you know, there's tons of families, tons of.
It's got like a mother-in-law quarter downstairs. They call them ohanas out there. And so, I mean, like you said, like your network is telling you, hey, you have a safe number here, right?
Yeah. They just everybody just said, hey, it depends on the rehab, but like, man, like I just don't know. why that would not be a deal. So
A
so much
2,000 square foot home on the island of Maui in Hawaii, like, should probably be going for, 800 or more, right?
Yeah. So we ended up kind of running the numbers at like an ARV of a low eights with a rehab of a little bit north of 100,000, holding time of about hit our numbers of 30% and about basically a six-figure flip, 100,000. We got quick numbers from our private lender, from our hard money lender that they can do the deal. But the thing is, we needed it quick within 2-3 weeks, but it takes 2-3 weeks for appraisals. So we just had to like kind of decide quickly because we also needed to order the appraisal quickly. And so that's where really you got to kind of grab your cojones, grab your new what, and decide like, hey, do you want to be an investor? Because these opportunities, once you really get to that yes or no mark, I mean, you got to shit or get off the pot, as they say. So we end up saying yes. But check this out. Once we locked it up and we were in escrow and all that, the person I decided to kind of partner with basically said, hey man, I have some family things kind of happening. I would prefer to just get bought out. What do you think about me just give you my 50% interest for 30 grand? And I was like, cool, like yeah, right away, in my head I was like, okay, well, there's enough meat on the bone. I definitely can pay you out, and essentially just like you're wholesaling it to me.
And again, we don't wish bad on anyone, but just he had some family stuff come up, and it just didn't make sense for him to dedicate as much time as would have been needed for this project, right?
Yeah, he had to be at a certain place with family, and he had already committed to going to the island of Maui and then helping me rehab and manage that whole project over there. So it's like you're not able to do the side of the agreement that you decided to do. So it was really just not. It wasn't a good or bad thing. It was just like his situation changed. We still want to do a deal. He's better off taking a quick 30 than like not being able to do the deal the way we discussed, because we would have had to renegotiate it anyway, because if he's not going to do that, now I got to pay somebody to project manage, then that's changed the deal that we agreed upon, right? So, but he knew that was a fair price, and so did I. So I said yes. I gave him the 30. See, we'll put it right here, $30,000. So it still hit our numbers. And then we took the deal down. As we see here on the worst case scenario, it's a little bit more because it could be a heavy rehab. We're buying it for 500. Our worst case scenario, like that size house remodeled in Maui in the 7s, it's just like kind of unheard of. And so that way we're like, dude, like worst case scenario, we'll land right in the high 7s. Also, we knew like, hey, if things go really, really bad, that size house might cost us $200,000 to rehab, and it might take us at least another 2-3 months to rehab and sell. So we put a longer hold time. And then,
so Alex, real quick, I want to point out, because this $30,000 number is a little bit bigger than our average deals out here in, say, Antelope Valley or Los Angeles. And I just want to point out to you guys that on those average deals in LA, in Antelope Valley, we're looking at like a 30 to 60, 30, 40 to 60, $70,000 minimum profit. And on those deals, you might be more at like a worst case scenario of maybe like $3,000 to $10,000, right, Alex?
Yeah, exactly.
But because the base case is a 6-figure deal and the best case is a 2 6-figure deal, you might need to be a little bit more comfortable losing some money on it.
Yes, exactly. What you're always trying to do with these flips is you're trying to control the downside. Hold on a second, guys. My computer just. So you're really trying to control the downside. And for us, it was like, no, we don't want to lose more than about 15, 20,000 on deals. In Hawaii, I put a little bit more there because it's a little bit of a bigger deal and it does have a lot more of an upside. So if everything goes wrong, we end up losing. Now, I would take that loss personally. Everybody would still be paid back, but we don't want that number to be, say, 50, 75 grand. Like then we pass on that deal. And so that's kind of what we're always trying to really look at. What is our downside here? How bad can it really get if everything goes wrong? And so that's what it looked like on this deal. On the best case, on the flip side of things, if things go very well, we had calculated a potential exit of close to 900 or 900,000 here, and with a rehab of only about 100. That's pretty optimistic, given the size of the house and being Maui. But we'll talk about, because the thing is, what we've had to do with a couple properties here in Maui now is fly crews in from LA, from other parts of the country, and then have them stay at the property or stay there in Maui and help us kind of come and fly and do the plumbing for 2 weeks, right, or a week and a half. And then that's going to be cheaper and on time not cheaper, but it's going to be within budget and within time, because then the good people in Maui they're taken and they're not going to be able to start the project for a month or two, or they're too expensive, or both. So we just found like not that much success with having our own crews on Maui. So we've had to kind of fly people in, and that's what we're doing here, where we're like, hey, if we fly someone in and we house them at the house we already own, well, and that's what we're doing now. We're flying a plumber in and we're flying an electrician in and having them stay at our other house, and they're going to be working on this house. You just got to figure out solutions, it just comes down to that. But as you see here, on the best case scenario, we could make 200,000 on this type of deal. So that's what we like about these upside deals on Hawaii, where there could be some, or just in general, there can be some, multiple six-figure flips there, at the right price point, and you get a good enough deal, manage it, project manage it right, and then the market's in your favor. Now, granted, I mean, I wouldn't feel that optimistic of getting 900 on this property, any longer. But oh, and then one more thing, we got such a good deal on it. We had always considered maybe wholesaling it, just cleaning it up and putting it in the market for like 650, high sixes, and do not that much. But because like it was just going to be kind of a cash only deal anyway, because there is a lot of termite damage and it's kind of in bad shape, we decided not to go that route. And we also had a lot of construction financing from the lender. So because we have a big construction financing budget of 170,000 from the lender, essentially we're only going to be using 30-40,000 of our own money at one time, and then we'll get that reimbursed. And that way we can just like, just finish this property right, and not just kind of, wholesale it and just clean it up and put it back on the market. We could actually fully rehab it. I think it just nicer overall for the island as well. So
which in the long run actually turned out to be good, right? Because the market is kind of turning down, and you can't really get away with a wholesale on the market now, right? Like, with the market shifting, if you have a good quality product at a good price, I think you're still in a good zone. But if you have that wholesale product, it's a little bit in that gray area now.
Yeah. It's definitely. So we probably wouldn't be able to get that. We put on the market, and we just saw that this is not the best play. But I love deals with multiple exit strategies, and this one we considered it, but it just, at the end of the day, we had the the financing available, and we just thought it was going to make more money doing that. And then we figured out the whole project management with flying people in, and then we have the house in Maui for people to stay at to come do the work. So, we won't do it, because the hotel was also considered because of how hard it is to rehab property there. But once we kind of figured that out with the money side of things and the execution part of the people, how we're going to do it, we're like, all right, let's just do that instead.
And Alex, on your end, I'd love to kind of just get a little bit of feedback. I know, like we said, this is our deal review meeting, and we kind of have a chance here to talk about deals. So looking at deals right now, are you looking at deals any differently now with the market kind of where it is as to where you were looking at deals maybe before?
Yeah, well, we've talked about it recently. So what we're doing now is we're having to buy a deeper discount. So we're going to continue flipping, but we have to be ultra conservative. So it's going to take us longer, and we're probably going to buy less deals. So it's not like we're not buying, but we just have to buy with an additional 15 to 20% margin. So that means we have to buy stuff at 60 to 50, 50 to 60% discount of what the repair value would be. So that's going to be harder, right? So I told the guys, like, you're going to have to work harder to probably make the same amount of money. I mean, it's still a lot of money when we do deals. You make huge commissions, but ultimately, it's because in that transition from sellers to buyers market, sellers still want their prices. Like, even me as a seller, us as sellers, right? We still want our prices for the properties we bought. Fortunately, we have, deep discounts on all our portfolios. So, like we have, for example, right now we have a property in Compton that we were trying to sell that fell out of escrow. And I think what we had in escrow was projected to make about 75,000 profit. We have another deal or another offer, but it's at 650. And so essentially we would only maybe make about $50,000 profit. Well, I still want the 675 or something close to it. But if this is only costing me like $2,500 a month to holding costs, I don't believe the market's going down that fast that I need to take that 650,000, So we see both sides as flipping, where we're seeing the sell side, we're seeing the buy side. And so I'm always leaning towards more now. Okay, be conservative on your buy. And then we're really working hard on getting all of our current inventory that's close to being listed and finished and refinanced, the ones that we're keeping, to the finish line. So it's just a constant moving target. And when you're doing multiple deals, right, you're like, okay, when you're doing like just 2-3 deals, well, then maybe you're working more on just like, okay, the construction management or getting good at that. Or, if you're looking to scale a little bit more, getting a little bit more private capital. For us right now, we're like, okay, well, we have enough purchases. We don't really need to buy anything new unless it's a crazy good deal. And then all the great deals that we bought for, we need to get those to the market and turn our inventory. So that way we can get those data points and be like, okay, well, we listed this property because like some of our properties like in Mojave and some of those lower entry points are still flying off the shelves. I mean, we're seeing no problem selling them. This Compton one, I think there were some issues with, the finishes of it. So I think that was more of an issue than the fact that, it's not worth the 675. So yeah, I think that's let me know if you guys have any more questions, but we're definitely making adjustments, but we're not panicking. We're just getting our stuff sold, and anything that we buy new, it has to have a deep discount.
And here you are on the Facebook group. If you guys go into here and you hit the files section, on the files section, if you come down right here to the Alex Flip Deal Calculator, that right there is going to be your opportunity to download that thing for free. And you guys can get a copy of that calculator right there. So again, just join the Alex Camacho TV Real Estate Investor Group, our private kind of Facebook group there. We'll get you approved and go in and hit the files. When you guys do, go ahead and join. And when you join in, leave a post on here for us and let us know, what market you're in and where you're at. And if you need any help with anything, and obviously that way we can kind of, connect with you and help you out in the long run. All right, Edith? Edith, I know you were asking us about the Midwest. Alex, do you have any connections in the Midwest? I know we know Tony and Dakota up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I don't know whether that's, Midwest or a little bit too east for you guys, but.
I would just let me know what city.
Yeah, I was going to say Midwest could be San Antonio, it could be anywhere. And Alex knows people all over, but, again, let us know where you're tuning in from, Edith, in the Facebook group, and we'll see who we can connect you with.
Yeah, I have some people in Kansas City, Missouri. So people out there, that's what you mean by Midwest. Well, cool. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you guys got some value. Any questions we missed in the chat, Will, or in the Q&A section? I don't see.
No, I think we hit all the questions there in the chat. Like I said, these deal reviews are always awesome. It's a good chance to kind of go through and take a look at some deals, whether, they're deals that we took down or deals that we, ended up passing on, which was the instance on this one. You guys, you can also go to our YouTube page. I'm going to give you guys a copy for that link right now as well. We have recorded on that YouTube page, I think, about 15 other episodes just like this one, where you can go in there and hit the playlists up at the top. And again, I'm just going to show you guys that on the screen share here so you guys can see that. So if you go to the Alex Camacho YouTube page here on the homepage, and if you click in on the playlists, we'll have a deals review playlist. It's got 15 other hours of deal reviews. So if you're a newer investor that is, looking to get started and, is unsure of how to use this calculator that you can download, here in our Facebook group, best way to get some insight on that is to go check out, it's like I said, about 15 hours of Alex and I kind of diving in. We'll bring on some special guests on some of the webinars and review specific deals like we did today with Manu, one of our acquisitions managers. I know we've had one of our stud acquisition managers, the kid is what we call him, Mr. Eliam Fuentes, on there with us before, diving in on a couple deals. So it's a great chance for you guys not only to see the current deals that we're looking at, but also some of the deals that we bought, a couple of months ago and when the market was a little bit different, just so you guys can get a feel for that too. So feel free to kind of tune in on there. And unless anybody else has any questions, which it looks like Lizette does, which is how do you determine your percentage from ARV? So is it based on the minimum amount of profit you want to make? Yes. So for example, Alex and I have a minimum amount of profit that we want to make on each deal. Is that right, Alex?
Yeah. So the number here,
a couple different markets that we invest in as well, right? So we have different minimum profits for each of those different markets.
Yeah. So if you look at the flip calculator, this particular deal, because of look at how much cash it might take and then the purchase price, So if it's in the 500,000 purchase price, give or take 100,000 or 75,000 or so, we're really trying to make, at least $60,000-$70,000 of profit, just kind of in that ballpark, because how much capital that it's going to take. We pay really close attention to this number here, how much cash investment we're going to need, and then how much of that, how much return, kind of this number here, the green number. So that way they're kind of, they like, if we're going to tie up 170,000 bucks, like we don't want to just make 40 grand, like that's not. So, but if we're going to buy a property and say at $300,000, with an ARV, say 575 rehab, just kind of quick numbers. Then something like that could work. Then look at smaller purchase price is not quite hitting the 30%, but it's 50,000. It's a 50,000, and if we feel really good about the deal, that might work. Now we're buying the property, say for 150,000. No, it's 1.5 million. 150,000. With the resale, say 265. 55. Oh, okay. This is because there's something here. I'm just going quickly. Okay, so then that kind of works for us, right? It hits our minimum of 35,000. Let's say this is like Mojave, Lancaster, Rosamond, the kind of desert part. We're investing a lot in. And
again, like Alex, a lot of this has to do with our ease of transactions in Antelope Valley, right? Because it's easier to do business up there. We might be willing to make less profit, whereas a deal in Hawaii takes more bandwidth, more time.
And look at the number here. I mean, in that same scenario, we only would need about 60,000 total to flip that house. Well, yeah, if we're only gonna use 65 and we're making 35, I mean, that's a great ROI, right? So we tend to really
less risk, less profit.
Yeah. Now if you're buying something for 750,000 though, and then we'll say $1 million exit. Look at that. Oh, you want to make $30,000? Like, yeah, that's probably not going to happen, right?
For 6 months of your life and 125K in on your rehab, like that's a lot of money to even seven. Like I would maybe look at this in the low.
Exactly. Like, and now, right, the numbers now start to make sense a little bit. You see, so how likely it is that you're going to be able to get a house that's going to resell for $1 million and you buy it for 675? It's kind of really hard. So it's typically harder to buy a higher priced property because, right, the sellers are usually savvier, much better represented. Just complexity of the deal increases. So just keep that in mind. That's why we really try to stick to just entry level properties for whatever neighborhood we're investing. And typically we don't like to buy anything over about 500,000-600,000, generally speaking. So does all that make sense? How much cash we're going to use, how much profit based on the purchase price is kind of the way we look at things. Cool. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. I think that's our hour. Let us know if you have any questions. You have anything final to say, Will?
No, Alex, I mean, I think we broke down those deals. That was pretty sweet. We got to kind of go over a couple people's questions. So Lizette, we appreciate you coming in with the questions. You too, Edith, like we said, we do this for you guys, and we're appreciative that you guys were able to at least, kind of catch some idea of how we're reviewing deals, right?
Yep.
Guys, we will catch you on the flip side, all right? See you next week. We got a special guest. We'll let you guys know who it is. Make sure you join the Facebook group so you guys get access to that first, all right? See you guys out there.